With Bruce, we literally just got off the air with Scotty Campbell. We're sitting here in the parking lot here where we sometimes do the review, wherever the review gets us to do it. But this week I wanted to ask Scotty, have you ever seen the previews for a movie and you thought to yourself, I can't relate to the subject matter, so I don't think the movie would be very interesting to me? Well, give me a minute. I'm going to change your mind. Have you ever felt like you've been overlooked or set aside or maybe not listened to, or maybe you sat by yourself in a crowd like at church, or maybe you had a great idea at work that nobody would listen to, or maybe just feel like just life is passing you by? I think all of us can relate to that. It's a lonely feeling, isn't it? And it's not a very welcome feeling, especially if you didn't do whatever it is that the other people are excluding you from doing. So sometimes, even though we hate all of those things that I just mentioned, sometimes we treat other people that way and make them feel in the ways that we just said we didn't like. So sometimes we're on both sides of the fence, aren't we? Hold on to those thoughts and those emotions, because there's a controversial movie out at the movie theater right now that deals with racism. Now, we may not be affected by that personally. Maybe we are. I don't know. But the movie floods out into work, hobbies, family, and even how you conduct yourself in the public. Today's movie does isolate two groups of people. Again, we may say, can't relate to that, but the problems that they're having, you can relate to. You see, they're separated by lies, misunderstanding, lack of communication, lack of forgiveness. But the biggest thing that these two different sides need to do is they need to quit fighting and sit down and talk. Thus, the movie comes up with a term that I'd never heard, a charrette. That is Charrette. So I'll give you a Bruce definition of it real quick. Basically, the two sides are going to sit down, figure out what it is that's separating them, what they can overlook, what they can't overlook, and what they can do about it. So they're going to have a charrette. Well, today's racially charged movie set in the late 1970s, The Best of Enemies. It deals with, on the surface, school integration. But as you watch, Taraji Henson and Sam Rockwell, who play the famous Ann Atwater and C.P. Ellis, they are on two different sides of the universe, basically. You start to relate your own demons and your own times in your life that maybe lack of communication, lack of forgiveness, or being set aside has affected you. So you see, you can relate to this movie as well. A short synopsis of the movie: when one school burns down, the parents and the community of another school don't want those kids coming in. So thus, the charrette, which, again, I looked that up. They're going to let the people speak their mind, and basically this charrette is ordered or imposed by the town officials. They're going to just walk away from the problem and let the people figure it out. You know, sometimes that's not a bad idea, government. Hint, hint. All right. So as you watch this movie, it is going to deal with some extremely sensitive subject matter, and I mean extremely. So I want you to keep your mind open to what you see and what you hear, because you're going to hear some slang terms that we shouldn't have used then, and we definitely should not use now. You're going to see some hateful events that we should never repeat, and we shouldn't have repeated at that time either. You see, the Bible tells us to put away anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, and filthy communication. Well, so that's great, Bruce. The Bible says not to do that. Well, so what should I do? Glad you asked. The Bible tells you to be kind, understanding, forgiving, tells you to share, and it tells you to encourage. And once these two sides flip from one category to the other, maybe some things will change. And you know, maybe some things will change for us as well. So, The Best of Enemies sends a resounding, although it is rough, message about some mistakes of the past. Some mistakes that were made by both sides, guys, not just one side. So, can this town, the school, and these people remind us of some things that we should never forget and hopefully never act the same? All right, number one at the box office right now is a movie called Shazam. I didn't think it would be number one either. Well, I'm hearing from John Riggs and from Chris Ford, two friends of mine, that the movie is really good. It has some good morals and principles and values in it as well. But Shazam was kind of like Big meets Superman. You remember Big with Tom Hanks, right? So it's kind of like Big meets Superman. But let me leave you with this. Don't forget, check out Movies with Bruce on Facebook and on YouTube, and a 92.9 WFHG Super Talk once a week. So we will have the review up Thursday later. But Shazam is an acronym. It stands for the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlantis, the power of Zeus, the speed of Achilles, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. And guys, I appreciate you all. Shazam is number one, but if you get a chance, go see The Best of Enemies. There's a lot of good movies out there. Now, next week, hopefully I'll be in the studio, and we're going to be talking about doing some colluding on Movies with Bruce. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Don't forget, hit like and share as well. And if you're over on YouTube, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Have a great week and enjoy the movies.